Have you ever felt that something profoundly deep hides behind the seemingly simple words spoken by the powerful of this world? Perhaps a spiritual truth, a revelation kept under lock and key for centuries, is about to be unveiled before your very eyes. That's exactly what happened on that cold morning in the Vatican when Pope Leo XIV, with his deep and enigmatic eyes, looked straight into the hearts of thousands of believers and solemnly declared, "Brazil is the living church." In that instant, a heavy silence covered St. Peter's Square. The Pope's words echoed in the minds of every person present, piercing souls, hearts, and questions alike. What could this bold, mysterious, and powerful statement possibly mean? The global press immediately began to speculate. Theologians searched for answers in ancient manuscripts. Priests and bishops looked for clues in previous papal letters, while prophecy scholars rushed to find any prophetic sign linking Brazil to the spiritual future of the world. But no one yet imagined that the truth was even more mysterious and disturbing. Something dark and deeply spiritual hovered in the air, waiting only for the right moment to be revealed. Days before that declaration, secret documents had arrived in the hands of Leo XIV. Coming directly from the deepest archives of the Vatican, these documents, sealed with red wax like dried blood, contained a hidden prophecy that could change the course of history forever. Can you feel the tension in the air as this hidden truth begins to take shape? In the prophecy, something astonishing was written, recorded by an ancient prophet whose words had remained forgotten for generations. "Behold, a time shall come when the light of the Most High will no longer dwell in Rome's great temples, nor in churches adorned with gold, but within a simple, humble people, burning with fervor, the true living church will arise. And it shall be in the land of great waters, in the land of dense and vast forests, in the heart of a people who suffer, struggle, and believe." Rome felt threatened. The powerful church, built upon centuries of history, immeasurable wealth, and political power, now faced a revelation that could shake its very foundations. The center of global faith would no longer be Rome, but a distant, unknown, and surprisingly humble place: Brazil. Leo XIV, a man known for his profound knowledge of scripture and spiritual signs, understood the weight of this revelation. He knew that by declaring Brazil as the living church, he was challenging a centuries-old order, confronting hidden powers, and risking awakening unimaginable forces within and outside the church. At this moment, you realize how involved you are in this. Yes, you, listening to these words. For it is no coincidence that you feel a chill down your spine when you hear that the living church is not found in buildings or empty traditions, but in the beating hearts of those who seek, who weep, who pray in the silence of the night for answers. And now you understand that something in your life may be deeply connected to this prophecy. Perhaps the answer you've long been seeking is about to be revealed. But be warned, the price of truth can be high, much higher than you can imagine. You feel the growing anguish as the weight of that prophetic declaration reverberates around the world. Words spoken in a second, yet carrying centuries of meaning. Behind them, ancient mysteries now begin to emerge from the shadows. After Pope Leo XIV's revelation, the Vatican became the epicenter of a spiritual earthquake. High-ranking bishops tried to soften the message, claiming it was merely a metaphor. Yet you can clearly perceive there was something much deeper, something too terrifying to be ignored, and perhaps even more frightening was the immediate reaction of powerful groups tied to the Vatican itself, determined to prevent that message from reaching the hearts of ordinary people. Why were they so disturbed? What were they afraid might be revealed? That dark night, while the lights of the Vatican glowed under the light drizzle covering Rome, a secret meeting was taking place in the underground chambers of St. Peter's Basilica. Influential cardinals, men whose faces were almost unknown to the public, spoke in hushed, serious tones. They knew the prophecy was real. And more than that, they knew that if it were fully understood by the people, it would shake the foundations of power that had supported Rome for over 1,000 years. At the center of the table lay an ancient document illuminated by a dim light. It was the same manuscript revealed to Pope Leo XIV days earlier, a scroll dating back to ancient times, speaking of the migration of true faith to a new place. And there, among lines faded by time, was a clear reference to Brazil. Suddenly you see an old priest rise, his sunken eyes and wrinkled skin bearing the marks of age, and he speaks with firm conviction. Brothers, we can no longer hide the truth. For centuries we sought God in wealth, in politics, in human agreements. We lost the way, and the light that once guided us has departed from Rome. The people have grown tired of golden temples, of institutionalized hypocrisy. God has chosen a new home, a simple place, pure and still faithful to the true essence of faith. Silence fell over the dark room as the priest's words echoed in the minds of those powerful men. You feel the depth of that declaration. Rome had chosen earthly power, but God had chosen humble and sincere hearts. The meeting ended in discord, with deep divisions among those men. Some wanted to reveal the whole truth, while others vowed to keep it buried, no matter the cost. In the midst of it all, Pope Leo XIV knew something dark was coming, and perhaps his life was now at risk for daring to reveal the prophecy. Meanwhile, in Brazil, far from the luxury of the Vatican, something spiritual was moving silently. Small churches, simple chapels, and modest homes were becoming places of deep spiritual searching. The people, though not fully grasping the Pope's words, began to feel something stirring in their hearts. In cities large and small, an intense spiritual awakening began to spread, quiet, discreet, but deeply transformative. Ordinary people, like you, felt that something vast, something beyond human comprehension, was beginning to happen. Something that was already changing their lives, revealing that perhaps the true church had never been a building, but a living, breathing community made of real people. Now you understand that you are part of this, that your heart beats in rhythm with this prophecy, and that maybe your spiritual journey is only beginning. But remember, with each step closer to truth, you move nearer to discovering dangerous secrets. Secrets fiercely guarded by those who wish them never to be revealed. Are you ready to dive even deeper into this truth? You realize that the closer you get to the light, the deeper the darkness around you becomes. Every step toward truth also increases the risk of awakening dark forces. And now, something ancient seems to have been stirred. In the heart of Rome, away from the eyes of tourists and pilgrims, a man walked alone, protected by the night. It was Cardinal Matteo, guardian of the Vatican's most secret relics. As his red robes brushed against the stone walls of the narrow alleys, his anxious gaze searched for something, or someone. He knew he was not alone. Since Pope Leo XIV had spoken the prophecy, an invisible shadow loomed over Rome. Matteo understood the true weight of that revelation. In his hands was the original manuscript, and it contained words even stronger and more disturbing than those made public. A day shall come when the great cities of the old world shall fall into spiritual decay, and their light shall be extinguished. Rome, once the center of spiritual power, will be stripped of its vanity. Then in the land to the south, born of suffering and blood, the chosen people shall rise, bearing forth the true message. Matteo knew this prophecy pointed to Brazil as the new epicenter of spirituality, but he also understood the severity of what lay beneath, forces that would do anything to ensure that truth was never fully revealed. As his footsteps echoed on the wet stones, the cardinal suddenly stopped. A chill ran down his spine. Turning slowly, he saw a figure emerging from the shadows. The face, hidden beneath a black hood, was unrecognizable. The stranger's voice was low and menacing. "Hand over the manuscript, Cardinal. You don't need to pay with your life for a truth the world will never accept." Matteo, his voice trembling, replied, This truth cannot be silenced. It is no longer ours to hide. The stranger approached slowly, revealing an inverted crucifix hanging from his neck. His presence was oppressive, and the air seemed to grow heavier. Matteo felt suffocated by the thick atmosphere of that dark night, realizing he faced something far greater than a mere human threat. The stranger spoke again, in a cold and final tone. "It is not just men who wish to silence this prophecy. You have awakened powers that have slept for centuries, Cardinal. Rome will not allow itself to be abandoned by the light. The true faith will never leave this sacred soil, even if we must silence every voice that stands in our way." Then in an instant, the stranger vanished as quickly as he had appeared, leaving Matteo alone, his heart racing and a primal fear surging through his veins. Elsewhere, in another continent far from Roman opulence, in the heart of Brazil, ordinary men and women began having disturbing dreams. Many reported visions, strange symbols, and a strong sense of spiritual urgency. Without fully understanding why, they felt that something profound was about to occur. Small churches began to fill up. People sought answers for that inexplicable feeling that time was running out. You've felt it too, haven't you? That strange sensation, as if your heart knows something your mind cannot yet grasp. That feeling is a call to deep transformation, a sign that you are part of this great revelation. Meanwhile, Pope Leo XIV felt the weight of his decision. He knew that by revealing the prophecy, he had placed himself in grave danger. In the silence of his chamber, the Pope prayed fervently. He knew that hidden forces had awakened and that his life was now under threat. He whispered in silent prayer, "Lord, give me strength to endure the storm that approaches. Give strength also to the chosen people, to the living church that will awaken in the land of great waters." At this very moment, you feel that the Pope's prayers are directed at people like you, people being called to understand their role in this spiritual transformation. But are you ready to face the consequences of this calling? One thing is certain. Rome and Jerusalem, light and darkness, truth and idolatry are on a collision course, and you must decide which side you'll stand on when the true spiritual battle begins. You feel the strong pulse of this spiritual calling in your chest. It's inevitable. The battle between light and darkness, between hidden truth and institutionalized power, is quickly approaching. Around the world, clear signs are emerging, announcing a spiritual awakening without precedent. In Rome, after the dark attack on Cardinal Matteo, fear and distrust consumed the Vatican. The prophecy was no longer seen merely as a symbolic threat. It had become a real war, involving powerful and ancient spiritual forces willing to do anything to keep the truth hidden. But in Brazil, something entirely different was taking place. Humble hearts, far from Roman luxury, were beginning to awaken to a new spiritual meaning. Simple churches, modest families, and poor communities began witnessing remarkable phenomena: unexplainable healings, prophetic dreams, profound and transformative conversions. You yourself may have felt something similar. A disturbing dream that keeps returning, a fleeting vision, a powerful sensation that something far greater is about to be revealed in your life. All of this is part of the prophecy revealed by Leo XIV, and perhaps you are more deeply connected to it than you realize. In a small town in the Brazilian countryside, something even more impressive was unfolding. A humble woman, Ana Clara, lived in a modest house on the outskirts of town. Since childhood, she had been known for her pure and unwavering faith. That dawn, she awoke abruptly from a vivid dream, sweating and with her heart pounding. In her vision, Anna saw Rome engulfed in deep darkness, while a powerful light descended upon Brazil, illuminating small villages, humble homes, and sincere hearts. A clear, deep voice whispered, "The time has come, Anna. The living church will awaken among you. Prepare your hearts." Ana Clara knew this dream was a divine message. Unknowingly, she was becoming a crucial piece of the prophecy revealed by Leo XIV. Her spiritual journey was only just beginning, just like yours. You are now ready to understand how far this revelation might take you. You now realize that every small detail of your life was not in vain. Every hardship, every doubt, every moment of loneliness prepared your heart for what is about to unfold. While dark forces conspire in the shadows of Rome, something supernatural is silently being born in the simple, humble heart of Brazil. After her powerful dream, Ana Clara gathered a few close people and shared her disturbing vision. Without realizing it, that small group became the initial core of the living church prophesied by Leo XIV. They weren't theologians, priests, or renowned scholars, just ordinary men and women, guided by simple and genuine faith. Meanwhile, in the Vatican, the tension reached unbearable levels. Pope Leo XIV knew he was being watched by hidden forces, infiltrated in every layer of the church. Powerful cardinals, allied with dark groups, were secretly plotting to remove him and stop more revelations from coming to light. One night, during a solitary prayer in the Sistine Chapel, the Pope was approached by Cardinal Matteo. The cardinal's face, tired and fearful, revealed the dangers they were facing. "Your Holiness, they know you've revealed only part of the prophecy. They want to silence you before the full truth comes out. We must act quickly." Leo XIV sighed deeply, his eyes filled with emotion and pain. With a firm voice, he replied, "Matteo, this battle is greater than we imagined. We are not fighting against men, but against spiritual forces that have ruled Rome for centuries. It is time the world knows that God no longer dwells in temples of stone, but in the hearts of the humble." Brazil is not just a metaphor. It is the fulfillment of prophecy. Hearing this, Matteo understood the depth and gravity of the situation. Rome was about to face an unprecedented spiritual crisis, but it was already too late to turn back. The living church had been born, and no one could stop it. Meanwhile, in Brazil, Ana Clara watched her community grow rapidly. People came from far and wide, drawn by miracles, visions, and a pure, genuine faith. At this very moment, you feel that this spiritual transformation is much closer to you than you imagined. You, who follow these revelations with a pounding heart, may be part of this story. The time has come to choose. Will you be part of this living church that is being born in the lands of Brazil? If your heart is stirred by this truth, don't forget to like this video, comment now with the name of your city, and share this urgent revelation with those who need to know. At this very moment, you feel the profound dimension of what is happening. There is no longer room for doubt or hesitation. We are witnessing a historic and spiritual confrontation. On one side, hidden and powerful forces determined to keep Rome as the absolute center of spirituality. On the other, humble and simple hearts illuminated by a truth that transcends temples, hierarchies, and riches. In Brazil, the small community led by Ana Clara was growing rapidly, drawing national and international attention. People reported miraculous healings, deep emotional deliverances, and radical life transformations. The prophecy revealed by Pope Leo XIV was taking visible shape before thousands of eyes, but the price of that revelation was beginning to be paid. In Rome, resistance to the spiritual changes had become fierce. A dark network, with influence in high religious and political offices, was determined to silence anyone who might threaten their historic grip on power. On a cold and rainy night, while walking through the deserted Vatican cloister, Pope Leo XIV was suddenly surrounded by masked men. A cold, low voice commanded, "Your Holiness, we know there's more behind your statement. The full prophecy cannot be revealed. Hand over the original manuscript or face terrible consequences." Leo XIV slowly raised his head, remaining firm. His eyes reflected a surprising spiritual strength for a man so surrounded by threats. "You may destroy my body, but the truth already lives in the hearts of the people. Brazil is already the living church, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. I do not fear you, nor the darkness you represent." At that instant, something inexplicable happened. A soft, almost imperceptible light surrounded the Pope, causing his attackers to step back, startled and confused. In that moment they understood they were facing something far greater than just a man. It was the manifestation of a spiritual force that could not be controlled or destroyed by human hands. You feel deeply the impact of that moment. That light symbolized divine confirmation that something extraordinary was happening in the world, something that includes you, your life, and your spiritual purpose. Now you know that you are facing a crucial choice: to continue watching in silence, or to become an active part of this spiritual battle that is already unfolding before your eyes. But be alert. The journey will be difficult, dangerous, and full of challenges. Are you ready to dive even deeper into this truth? At this moment you feel it clearly. There is no turning back. You have entered a spiritual battle that stretches across continents and centuries, and every step you take toward truth increases the fury of the forces operating in the shadows. After the Vatican incident, Leo XIV realized that time was running out. He knew internal and external forces were conspiring against him, determined to smother the revelation shaking Rome. That night, alone in his chamber, he looked at the ancient manuscript that had started it all. The words pulsed in his mind like living fire. And from the ashes of the old church, a new people shall arise, humble and chosen, guided directly by the Spirit. Without intermediaries, without golden temples, for God will dwell in the hearts of the pure. The land of great waters shall be the new spiritual center of the world. Meanwhile, in Rome, a dark conspiracy was growing rapidly. Influential groups within the Vatican, allied with secret international organizations, launched a disinformation campaign to discredit the Pope. Fake news, rumors of madness, and even accusations of heresy spread across global media, desperately trying to silence the voice that threatened centuries of institutional power. You feel deeply the pain of this injustice, perhaps because you too have faced something similar in your life, the pain of being disbelieved, unjustly judged for standing up for an uncomfortable truth. In Brazil, however, the movement of the living church continued to grow. Ordinary people, moved by sincere faith, were rediscovering God outside of empty traditions. Ana Clara, despite her simplicity, had become a symbol of this new spirituality, but with that came threats and persecution. The spiritual battle was now producing real and tangible consequences. One night, Ana Clara awoke startled by strange noises outside her house. Opening the door, she found an inverted cross drawn on the ground and a message written in red paint: "The truth cannot be revealed. Stay silent." Her heart pounded and tears ran silently down her face. But looking up to the starry sky, she whispered firmly, "I will not back down, for my life is in the hands of the one who called me." The world must know the truth. You now understand that this same choice lies before you. The path of truth is narrow, dangerous, and often lonely. But right now, your heart is being called to make a courageous decision, just like Ana Clara and Pope Leo XIV. Are you ready to face the consequences of that choice? Because the decisive moment is coming quickly, and the light of truth will demand your deepest courage. You now sense that something in your soul has changed profoundly since the beginning of this spiritual journey. There is no more room for neutrality or hesitation. The clash between divine truth and the darkness of human idolatry has reached its breaking point. In the Vatican, after facing countless attacks and covert persecution, Pope Leo XIV made a decision that would shock the world. On a solemn night, he called for a global broadcast directly from St. Peter's Square. Hundreds of thousands gathered, waiting anxiously, unaware that something historic was about to take place. The cameras captured the Pope's aged face, showing fatigue, yet radiating a supernatural firmness. With a calm voice, he declared before the world, "Brothers and sisters, today I speak to you not as the leader of an institution, but as a servant of truth. Rome strayed from the path long ago, We built palaces, accumulated power, but forgot the hearts of the humble and the essence of the gospel. God has chosen Brazil as a symbol of this new living church, not because it is a perfect land, but because there, in its suffering, purity, and hope, he will rebuild his church on more faithful foundations. The declaration echoed across the globe, provoking intense reactions. For millions, it was the confirmation of a spiritual awakening they already felt within their hearts. For others, especially those tied to religious and political power, it was an unacceptable threat. In Brazil, Ana Clara and her followers watched the transmission with tears in their eyes, realizing that their mission had now become even more crucial and dangerous. They knew the prophecy would lead them to confront powerful forces, willing to do anything to stop the rise of the living church. Meanwhile, hidden forces reacted furiously in Rome. A violent conspiracy quickly took shape, determined to eliminate Pope Leo XIV at any cost. Secret groups swore to permanently silence the one who dared challenge the millennia-old system that supported Rome. That same night, Cardinal Matteo rushed to the Pope's side in desperation. "Your Holiness, you must leave Rome immediately. Your life is in imminent danger. They've already decided to eliminate you before the full prophecy is revealed." Leo XIV gave a sad smile and responded with surprising serenity. "Matteo, my mission is complete. If the price of truth is my life, I am willing to pay it. God will take care of the living church now being born in the humble hearts of those who truly seek him." Those words pierced Matteo's heart just as they now pierce your own. The Pope's courage revealed that this battle was spiritual, far beyond earthly matters. You now understand that you too have been called to take a stand. This confrontation does not belong only to the Pope or to Ana Clara or to the Vatican. It belongs to every sincere heart that seeks the true spiritual light. Are you ready to take the next step, knowing the path of truth is irreversible and transformative? You clearly sense that the world is entering a period of profound spiritual transformation. Something great and inevitable is rapidly approaching. The truth revealed by Pope Leo XIV has awakened hearts, inflamed souls, and enraged hidden powers. There is no turning back now. After the courageous global broadcast, Rome plunged into an unprecedented crisis. Many demanded Leo XIV's immediate resignation, while crowds flooded the streets, defending him as a martyr of truth. The division had become clear and uncontrollable. In Brazil, the living church was growing exponentially, guided by the simple, pure, and courageous faith of ordinary people. Ana Clara and her companions were beginning to be seen as messengers of a new spiritual era, an era far removed from Roman pomp and luxury. But Rome was not willing to lose its position of power without a fight. Powerful and shadowy groups decided to act with extreme violence. A secret order was given. The Pope must be eliminated immediately. On a gloomy early morning, while praying alone in his private chapel, Pope Leo XIV heard hurried, aggressive footsteps approaching. He took a deep breath, realizing that his time had come. His heart was heavy with emotion, but steady in faith, and he whispered in prayer, "Lord, my life is in your hands. Let my blood become seed for the true living church." The door burst open violently. Masked men entered quickly, surrounding the Pope. But at that very moment, something astonishing happened. Leo XIV remained at peace, gazing at his assailants with profound compassion. With a calm and clear voice, he said, "You may kill a man, but you can never kill the truth. God has already chosen his people, and the light of the living church will never be extinguished." The men hesitated briefly, stunned by the spiritual authority radiating from this seemingly fragile figure. But overtaken by dark forces, they moved forward brutally. At that same exact moment in Brazil, Ana Clara had another powerful vision. She saw the Pope being attacked, and hot tears streamed down her face, but a strong voice echoed in her heart. Do not fear, Anna. This sacrifice is necessary to awaken the living church once and for all. You now feel, with full intensity, the weight and impact of that moment. The world would never be the same. The prophecy, written centuries ago, was painfully fulfilling itself before your eyes. As dawn broke slowly over Rome, an urgent piece of news spread across the globe. Pope Leo XIV had suffered a violent attack and was in critical condition. The entire world stopped in shock, waiting for updates as multitudes gathered in prayer. You now understand that indifference is no longer an option. The living church prophesied is being born through pain, tears, and immense courage. You are being called to take part in this spiritual awakening. But one crucial question remains. What will be the outcome of this spiritual battle between Rome and Brazil, between truth and idolatry, between light and darkness? Now you feel with certainty that we have reached the decisive moment of this spiritual journey. Every event before has led you here to witness a revelation that will forever change the way you see the world. The prophecy of Pope Leo XIV is reaching its peak, and the truth will finally triumph over the shadows. After the attack, Pope Leo XIV lay between life and death. In that dramatic moment, millions around the world joined in fervent prayer, pleading for his recovery. Anna Clara, deeply shaken by the vision she had received, summoned the entire living church to pray intensely, forming a powerful spiritual chain, one capable of breaking barriers and moving mountains. Lying in his hospital bed, weakened and surrounded by medical equipment, the Pope received a secret visit from Cardinal Matteo, who held in his hands the original manuscript of the prophecy. With tears in his eyes, Matteo said to the ailing pontiff, "Your Holiness, the world finally understands. Your courage has awakened the chosen people. The living church is already alive in the hearts of the humble. Rome will never be the same." Leo XIV, struggling to breathe, smiled serenely and whispered, "Matteo, my mission is complete. Now it's your turn to carry this light to the world. Tell the people of Brazil that the prophecy has been fulfilled. God is with them." At that exact moment, a soft light filled the hospital room, surprising doctors and nurses. The news spread quickly. Pope Leo XIV had passed away peacefully, with an inexplicable smile on his face. The global reaction was immediate. The world mourned the loss of a spiritual leader who had given his life for the truth, but his physical death marked the definitive birth of the living church. The prophecy had been fulfilled. God now dwelled in the simple, humble hearts of those who truly sought him. In Brazil, Ana Clara led a massive spiritual celebration. Amid tears and emotional joy, she declared with power, "Pope Leo XIV fulfilled his mission. Now it's our duty to carry on his legacy." It doesn't matter your nationality or religious tradition. The living church is inside each one of you. God chose our humble hearts to manifest his light to the world. We are all part of this prophecy. The crowd erupted in joy and prayer, and in that moment you feel deeply that you are part of this story. Your heart beats faster as you realize that the true church was never made of stone, but of human hearts united by genuine faith. This is the powerful and final revelation of the prophecy. You are the living church, wherever you are right now. So do not let this message die here. Like this video, comment below with the name of your city, and urgently share this powerful revelation with those who need to know the truth. The calling has been made. The living church is born within you. You now clearly feel that the world is entering a time of deep spiritual transformation. Something grand and inevitable is drawing near. The truth revealed by Pope Leo XIV has awakened hearts, set souls on fire, and enraged hidden forces. There is no turning back. Following the courageous global broadcast, Rome fell into an unprecedented crisis. Many demanded the immediate resignation of Leo XIV, while thousands took to the streets defending him as a martyr of truth. The division had become undeniable and irreversible. In Brazil, the living church continued to grow at an astonishing pace, guided by the simple, pure, and courageous faith of ordinary people. Ana Clara and her companions were now seen as messengers of a new spiritual era, an era far removed from the pomp and luxury of Rome. But Rome was not willing to lose its spiritual supremacy without a fierce fight. Powerful and obscure groups resolved to act with extreme violence. A secret order was issued. The Pope had to be eliminated without delay. In the dark hours before dawn, while praying alone in his private chapel, Pope Leo XIV felt the approach of his fate. As the sound of rushed footsteps echoed through the corridors, he closed his eyes and prayed, "Lord, into your hands I place my spirit. Let my death sow the seeds of the living church that will grow across the earth." The doors burst open. Masked men entered with determination. But instead of fear, they were met with the Pope's calm gaze, his presence serene, as though he already stood before eternity. With a clear voice he declared, "You can take my life, but you cannot silence the voice of God. His truth lives in the hearts of the people. The living church has already risen, and nothing you do can stop it." The attackers hesitated. They were startled by the divine authority radiating from the frail old man before them. But under the influence of darkness, they proceeded with their grim mission. At that same hour across the ocean, Ana Clara awoke with a jolt. Another vision had come. She saw the Pope surrounded, saw the blow fall, and fell to her knees sobbing. But in the midst of her tears, a powerful voice echoed in her heart. "His sacrifice will open the way. The living church will rise with unstoppable force. You feel that too, don't you? That now there's no more time to wait, no more space for silence. The truth is burning in your chest like a fire that cannot be ignored." The death of Pope Leo XIV sent shockwaves across the world, but something far greater was born in that moment. A new church, alive, burning with light, and rooted not in stone, but in the hearts of those who truly believe. And now, more than ever, this church needs you, because in the shadows the enemies of truth still move. They whisper lies, spread fear, and try to distract the world from what is awakening in Brazil. But nothing will stop what has already begun. You know that this calling is not symbolic. It is real, personal, and urgent. Your life has meaning in this great story. Your pain, your questions, your faith, they are part of something divine that is unfolding in our generation. Are you ready to take your place in this awakening? You now fully understand that we have reached the climax of this spiritual journey. Every moment, every sign, every prophetic word has led you here, to the final confrontation between truth and deception, between the light of a living church and the crumbling shadows of institutional power. After the martyrdom of Pope Leo XIV, the world entered a time of reckoning. His final words echoed across continents. His image, peacefully smiling at the moment of death, became a symbol of fearless truth. Across social media, news networks, and public squares, people everywhere asked, could it be true? Has God really chosen a new home? In Brazil, Ana Clara's community grew stronger than ever. No longer just a local movement, the living church had become a global fire. Delegations from distant lands traveled to meet her and hear the testimony of a woman who had seen visions and walked among miracles. But with that growth came more threats. Church leaders in Rome, desperate to regain control, convened emergency councils, launched theological attacks, and condemned the movement as heresy. But the more they attacked, the more people around the world opened their hearts to the simple, powerful truth. God had moved, not because he abandoned Rome, but because Rome abandoned him. And now, all eyes turned to Brazil. During a great gathering in a modest open field, Ana Clara stood before a multitude. People from every background had come, not for spectacle, but seeking something their souls longed for. She raised her voice, not as a prophetess, but as a witness. The Pope gave his life for this truth. We are not here to build a new empire. We are here to live the gospel as it was meant to be lived, in humility, in fire, in love, and in truth. The living church is not a building. It is you, it is me, it is everyone whose heart is open to God. At that moment, something extraordinary happened. A soft wind blew through the crowd, and thousands fell to their knees, not in fear but in awe. Some cried, others sang, many felt an overwhelming peace. It was not a show, it was real, and you feel it too. Right now, wherever you are, your heart burns. You know this message is not fiction, it is calling you. The Vatican tried to suppress it, the media tried to distort it, but no one could stop what God had already ignited. The prophecy had been fulfilled. The living church is alive. Not in marble cathedrals, but in kitchen tables where prayers rise, in broken hearts being healed, in voices crying out in the night and finding light in the morning. And now you must decide, will you continue as a spectator? Or will you rise, take your place, and say, "Here I am, Lord, make me part of this living church"? Because the time is now. The harvest is ready, the world is watching, and God is calling you by name. If this message spoke to your heart, don't let it stop here. Like this video, comment the name of your city, and share this urgent truth with someone who needs to wake up. The living church has been born in you. Now it's your turn to spread the fire.